What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake, and I'm bringing you the next episode in my series Spawn Locked, and this week we are going to be doing the map Carbon. For those of you that don't know, Spawn Locked is a weekly series where I go through and teach you how to set up a spawn trap in the game type Domination on Modern Warfare 3. I will be identifying positions of team members, lines of sight, and enemy boundaries. Throughout the life of the series, I will be hitting every map in Modern Warfare 3 and any new DLC map that comes available afterwards. Let's get started with map number 2, Carbon. Unlike Dome in Episode 1, Carbon has a linear domination layout, which means it's easiest to trap the opposing team at one of the endpoints, either A or C. Now, I've successfully spawn trapped at both A and C, but I like the C domination, or the C spawn trap on this map, and I think it's the easiest to set up, so that's the one that we're going to be covering today. And before we go into team position and responsibilities, again, we're going to want to cover enemy exit points, boundaries, and basically how far we can push into the enemy spawn before we flip it. And obviously on the map that's on your screen now, the red highlighted area is the area that we want to avoid entering. As you can see, we have 3 main exit points out of C. And I know somebody out there is going to be telling me that, oh, well, there's more than 3. On the left side there, I can see they can go in the building, or they can go around the semi, or on the right side, well, they can go down either side of the hill. Well, I do know that, and once we get to the team positions, you're going to realize that where our members are going to be set up and the line of sight that they're going to be seeing, we really minimize it down to basically those 3 exit points. And like I said, we'll get to that in just a minute. Now for boundaries, let's talk about the left boundary here first. And we'll end up seeing here in a moment that that's going to be the A team. The boundary for the A team, we want to avoid exiting the loading dock main door that leads to the C domination point. Normally that will end up flipping the spawn. I'll get to where it flips it to in a second. Moving over to the center boundary, or the B team, what we want to do is we want to avoid exiting the top level exit towards the C domination point. I actually never leave the stairway, so I don't know exactly where this boundary starts, but as long as you stay on the stairway, you're normally okay, and they continue to spawn back behind C. And this is actually a pretty good spot because you have pretty good line of sight, and you have some really decent cover from this spot as well. Finally, moving on the right side, or the C team, I personally would not push up past the hill on either side. Technically, I haven't noticed anything flip until you hit the top of the hill, but again, personally, I wouldn't push up the hill itself, and you have better lines of sight down at the bottom of the hill. Now, since I haven't told you where they spawn, if you actually get into that area, you're probably asking yourself, well, where do they spawn? Well, like most linear domination maps, what's going to end up happening is they're going to spawn furthest away from your team. So in this example, what's going to end up happening is they're going to actually spawn right on top of A, or in one of the main spawns in the A, or near the A domination flag. When we get to the gameplay at the end of this explanation video, you're actually going to see a perfect example of that. I believe I'm in a Reaper, and you'll actually get to see them spawn, and all the red boxes pop up when we push a little bit too far in. Now, moving into team position and responsibilities, as we look at the map here, you can see that our 6-person team has been broken down into 3 2-person teams. Like I said before, we have a Team A, a Team B, and a Team C. And just like last time, I want to give you guys a first-person view of what each spot looks like, and we're going to start with the A team. Alright, as we begin in position here, we're going to be talking about the A team first, and we're going to be doing the primary A person here first, and this is the building that we want to be set up in as the A primary person. This is loading docks, or this is what I call loading docks, because you got your semi-trailer and the loading station right there. The primary position I would choose is right here behind these tires. You can see you have a pretty good line of sight. You can move out a little bit. Just keep in mind that you don't have any cover when you move out here. You can move closer over to these barrels. The main spawn point inside of C is right inside of that back building over there. Normally they come out that doorway, or they go out the side door. Also keep in mind that their main starting spawn is that area right there. Normally when I get predators or any kill streaks, I like to drop down behind this forklift and use them. Typically they don't come behind the forklift for some reason. Normally it works out in your favor. Now the support person is going to be positioned right here. They are able to see the semi-trailer in case you have a few stragglers that are able to get through. It is normally pretty difficult for them to actually get through to that spot because the A primary person has such a good line of sight, and the B primary person is just right inside on the other side of that wall, and they have a pretty good line of sight, which we'll cover in a minute. Primary responsibility for this person, though, is when the primary person dies, they are to move up and become the new primary person. And then, of course, the old primary person is going to become the new support person, and they're going to position themselves back over there. And pretty much just rinse and repeat until the end of the match. Now, moving over to the B team, as we talked about earlier, I mentioned earlier, they are going to be holding on the center building. And this is the center building and the center exit point. And this is the stairway that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And as you can see, this gives you great cover here. You got this wall, you got those barrels, and then you have every little concrete post you can think of that's sitting out there. Perfect line of sight. You can see their main spawn is that building right there. So of course you can see once I reload, you can see the door here. If they go out the side door, you have a perfect line of sight through that window, and this really does work out for you. Occasionally you'll have somebody that creeps out on that side of that concrete barrier. It might take you by surprise, but normally it's not that big of a problem. If you get a kill streak, I like to drop down into this general area right here and let the support person know. And this is where the support person is going to be standing for the B team. They're actually pulling double duty, kind of. They're covering the C primary person, which is going to be positioned over in that area, and then of course they're covering the B primary person. And again, if they're dropping down to use a kill streak, or if they die, the B primary or the B support person's responsibility is to come back up and cover this area. So like I said, that's their main responsibility. Now moving over to the C team and the final team, our primary person is going to be holding down this general area on the C team. There's a spawn point right around that corner, so you don't want to push up too far, otherwise it will flip the spawn over to the A side, which you will see in a second in the gameplay. But this is a good area. Obviously you have a pretty good line of sight all the way up this wall and all the way back over here, which they would have to run to get to the other side of the hill. Typically they do like to run down this hill, so like I said, I like to use this trash can for cover. And if they do run by and they're running up this hill, you can kind of dart over here and use this wall for cover as well. But you don't want to hang out too much without some sort of cover, ducking down or using the wall for cover, because obviously there's nothing when you're standing right here. And moving over to the very final person that we have is the C team support person, which I like to set up right around in this general area. You can cover this top wall here, and you can also cover this side over here if they happen to get by. And you have decent cover, at least in this area, with this, I don't know what it is, electric pole type thing you can cover up here. And you can use the element of surprise if they come up on this side. So that's going to wrap up all the different positions that you guys have. That's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Spawn Locked. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I would love to hear if you guys were successfully able to pull this trap off, or any of the spawn traps from the series. Also, let me know which map you guys would like for next week. I think I've got Hard Hat, Lockdown, and Mission pretty much locked up. If the video was helpful, feel free to give it a rating or a like or a favorite, whatever it is. And until next time, I will leave you guys with the rest of the gameplay from my group performing this trap. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.